Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're all well. For a while working in the kitchens, one of my weakest points was cooking rice properly. Now, everyone had their own little secrets and their own little techniques to produce beautiful rice, but none of them ever worked for me, and I just didn't get it. When you work in a kitchen, and that sort of high pressured environment, you can't admit that you can't cook rice. Yeah, it's just rice. You can't screw up rice. I mean, I could butcher whole animals, make amazing terrines, make some sort of crazy pastry wonders, and prep all kinds of fish and shellfish, but if it came to rice, there would just be sheer panic. I couldn't bear not understanding a process fully, so I practiced again and again and again, testing and trialing all these different methods until I've nailed the perfect method to produce beautiful, fluffy white rice every single time. This technique works for all of your long grain, so your basmati, your jasmine, and even just your bog standard long grain white rice. And it's the perfect technique if, like me, you don't eat enough rice to justify buying yourself a rice cooker. So for this recipe, you are going to need rice. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can pretty much use any variety of long grain white rice. I'm partial to basmati rice as it's far more aromatic than your regular long grain. Jasmine also has a really nice floral note to it, but the grains are a little bit shorter than basmati. But you use what works for you and the dishes that you're making. Or the more likely scenario is that you'll use whatever's in the cupboard because that's all you've got. Once you've made the critical decision of which rice you're using, weigh out 200 grams of the rice into a bowl. Then add enough water to the bowl just to cover the rice. You don't have to worry about how much water you've used at this stage. If you feel like you've added too much, don't panic, you haven't. Then use your hands to massage the rice in the water. It sounds odd when I say it out loud, but what we're doing is we're rubbing the rice just to remove as much of the excess starch as possible. That way our rice will hopefully be nice and fluffy and not too sticky. You'll see the rice take on this sort of opaque shininess and the water will become really cloudy. Then drain the rice and remove the starchy water. Now you can just do this part over the sink. I've done it in a bowl here for 3 reasons. 1, where I film is miles away from my sink. 2, there's no way I'm cleaning and dressing up my kitchen for this one shot. And 3, it also allows you just to see how much starch is actually coming off of this rice. I mean, you just look at this bowl here and it looks like skim milk. Once the rice is drained, return it to the bowl and repeat this process 2 more times. Covering the rice with a little bit more water, giving them a gentle massage just to remove more of the excess starch. Draining them once again, and you can see in that water just how much starch is still coming off them. Then return to the bowl for one final round of massaging and draining. Once they've been drained for the final time, leave the rice in the sieve for about 5 minutes just to allow any excess water to drain off completely. Once totally drained, place the rice into a clean saucepan, cover with 1.5 times its weight in water. So we had 200 grams of rice, so that makes about 300 grams of water. Now personally, I like to leave the rice to soak for about 20 minutes at this stage, just to allow them to absorb a bit more water and swell up a little bit. I found if you don't do this, you end up with broken pieces of rice at the end of the cooking, which isn't ideal. But if you push for time, you could probably just skip the soaking and roll the dice on the end result. But if you want perfection, soak the rice. While the rice is soaking, you can sort out your aromats. To be honest, you can really throw in whatever you like with the rice, but my absolute favourite combo is hands down lemongrass and kaffir lime leaves. These are just so pungent and just give the rice this incredible aroma and flavour. You can't beat it. So after soaking, aromats in, half a teaspoon of salt, and then cover with a lid. Place onto a high heat and bring to the boil as quickly as possible. Resist the urge to remove the lid, just stand there and wait till you can see steam jetting from underneath the lid. This was tricky to film from the light that I had, as you may be able to tell from my slightly panicked looking camera work here. Once you see that steam, turn the pan right down low and then leave it to simmer very gently with the lid still on for 10 minutes. Set yourself a timer. Once the alarm goes on that timer, turn off the rice and then set the timer again for another 10 minutes and then leave the rice to rest and absorb the remaining water and steam in the pan. Once again, I'll stress, don't remove the lid. Leave it alone. Don't think, I'll just check it for a second. Just trust the process. I get it. Waiting sucks. No one likes waiting. So keep yourself busy. Why not chop some garnishes ready for your rice or get the rest of the dish that you're preparing ready. Once those agonizing 10 minutes are up, you can remove the lid. Now be prepared, you're about to get smacked in the face with aromas from that lime leaf and that lemongrass. Then all you need to do is fluff up that rice with a fork. It should hold together but not be sticky or heavy, and all those grains of rice should be nice and separate, not mushed together or broken into lots of tiny pieces. Then get that rice served up. garnished lovingly with perhaps some slow-mo sprinkle of toasted sesame seeds all over the top, and finish with some finely sliced spring onions for a splash of colour. And that's it, perfectly cooked fluffy white rice to have any way you like. Now, as I've mentioned, this will work for most of the long grain white varieties you can get in the shops, and you can just substitute different herbs and different aromats to suit the dish you're making. Now, I know I said leave it for 10 minutes to rest after you finish cooking it, but if you needed to leave it a little bit longer, you should be fine. I've cooked this rice before and then turned it off, got chatting, and before you know it, 30 minutes has passed, but served it up and it was absolutely fine. So if you need to give yourself that little extra window, it should be okay. Also, don't panic if you take off the lid and it feels like the rice is all stuck together. As I said, trust the process, gently fluff it up with a fork, and then you'll see within a minute or so, you're gonna have beautiful, separated, fluffy white rice. You can see I've tried to demonstrate that here in this shot. You'll just have to excuse the mess. Give this method a go and let me know what you think. And if you've got an even better method that you wanna share with me, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, the recipe is in the description down below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already, and if you're interested in any of the equipment that I use, you can always go and check out my Amazon store. I keep all my favorites over there. Reach out to me on Instagram, albrady.co.uk, and while you're there, why not give me a cheeky follow? I will see you in the next one.